In my 300 years of diplomatic service, I had never witnessed such a dramatic council meeting. My name is RYX Brightscale, Senior Ambassador of the Sentinel Alliance, and this is the story of how humanity turned the Galactic Council upside down in less than one standard rotation. The grand chamber of the Galactic Council stretched before me, its massive crystal dome reflecting the light of 3 suns. The circular arrangement of seats descended like a grand arena, with each delegation positioned according to their species' tenure in the Council. As a relatively new addition, the Senate section sat near the upper rings, giving me an excellent view of the proceedings below. Order. The 47,293rd session of the Galactic Council will now commence, announced High Counselor Prayon, his voice booming through the chamber. His golden scales shimmered as he adjusted his ceremonial robes. Prayon belonged to the ancient draconid species, and like most of his kind, he carried himself with an air of superiority that bordered on arrogance. The chamber quieted as various representatives settled into their seats. To my left, Ambassador Nyla Sunweaver of the Luminary Collective gracefully took her place. Her bioluminescent skin cast a gentle blue glow, a trait that had earned her people their name. "Another long session ahead, RYX," she whispered, her voice carrying a musical quality typical of her species. "With the humans joining us today, I expect nothing less," I replied, trying to keep my voice neutral. The tension in the chamber was palpable, like the calm before a cosmic storm. Below us, General Kov Steelclaw of the Militant Federation paced back and forth, his cybernetic eyes scanning the chamber. His species had evolved from apex predators, and despite centuries of civilization, they had never quite lost their aggressive edge. The general's metallic claws clicked against the polished floor as he moved, a sound that always set my nerves on edge. Trade Minister Lumi Starter floated into her section, her translucent form rippling with patterns of light that conveyed her emotional state. As the representative of the Ethereal Consortium, she rarely spoke aloud, preferring to communicate through projected thoughts and light patterns. Currently, her patterns suggested anxiety mixed with curiosity. The chamber's atmosphere grew heavier as more delegates arrived. The Quant Mind sent their usual cluster of interconnected artificial intelligences, their holographic forms flickering as they processed the emotional data from the room. The Silicon Collective rolled in, on their crystalline chassis, their internal mechanisms humming with computational activity. "I don't understand all this nervous energy," Nyla commented, her skin pulsating with concerned patterns. "Humans are hardly the first new species to join the Council." I gestured toward General Steelclaw, who was now engaged in a heated discussion with his advisors. Perhaps because no other species has advanced from discovering space travel to qualifying for Council membership in just 3 centuries. The military factions are particularly unsettled by this development. The chamber's main door slid open with a ceremonial hiss, and High Counselor Prayon raised all 4 of his arms for silence. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Council, we gather today for a historic session. The species known as humans have petitioned for full Council membership. Their representatives will be arriving shortly." Trade Minister Starter's form rippled with skepticism, her thoughts broadcasting clearly. "Are we certain they are prepared for this level of responsibility? Their civilization is remarkably young." "Young and dangerous," General Steelclaw growled, his cybernetic eye glowing brighter. "They achieved in 3 centuries what took most of us millennia. That kind of rapid advancement should be carefully monitored." I shifted uncomfortably in my seat, recalling my own first encounter with humans. They were indeed unlike anything our Council had encountered before. Their ability to adapt, their seemingly contradictory nature, their peculiar mix of aggression and compassion. It all made them unpredictable. And if there's one thing the Galactic Council despised, it was unpredictability. The massive announcement system chimed, indicating the arrival of our guests. High Counselor Prayon's scales rippled with barely concealed disdain as he prepared to receive the human delegation. Little did any of us know, this session would become legendary across the galaxy, though not for the reasons anyone expected. The council chamber doors parted, and the human delegation entered. Leading them was Ambassador Miranda Blackwood, and her appearance caused quite a stir among the council members. Not because she was particularly tall or imposing. Quite the opposite. By galactic standards, she was rather small, which made the reactions of my fellow council members all the more amusing. "These are the conquerors of their solar system," whispered a member of the Silicon Collective, their crystalline form vibrating with what I recognized as confusion. "Where are their defense mechanisms? Their protective shells?" I watched as Ambassador Blackwood strode confidently toward the center platform. Her dark skin contrasted beautifully with the white diplomatic uniform she wore, adorned with just a single badge, the emblem of Earth. No medals, no ceremonial armor, no display of technological superiority, just simple elegance. General Steelclaw's cybernetic I word as it focused on her. No visible augmentations, he growled to his aide. No combat enhancements. How did they achieve their military victories? The human delegation consisted of only 3 members, unusually small by council standards. Behind Ambassador Blackwood walked her 2 assistants, carrying nothing but small data tablets. Most species brought at least a dozen representatives, multiple security units, and enough technological displays to power a small moon. Trade Minister Starda's form rippled with rapid patterns of light, broadcasting her thoughts more strongly than usual. Their economic reports suggest they transformed their entire planetary economy in less than a century, yet they present themselves with such minimalism. Ambassador Blackwood reached the speaking platform, and I noticed something that others seemed to miss. While she appeared physically unimposing, her eyes carried a sharp intelligence that reminded me of a tactical computer running countless scenarios simultaneously. She surveyed the chamber with those eyes, and I could have sworn she cataloged every detail in seconds. "Honorable members of the Galactic Council," she began, her voice clear and steady. "I bring greetings from Earth and the United Human Systems." Several council members flinched at the sound. Humans were one of the few species that still primarily use vocal communication rather than telepathy, light patterns, or quantum signaling. The quantum mind's holographic forms flickered rapidly, processing this primitive form of communication. "They still use sound waves to communicate," sneered High Counselor Preon, his scales shifting to a shade of condescending amber. "How quaint." I noticed Ambassador Blackwood's slight smile at this comment, though she showed no other reaction. This small gesture sent ripples of unease through the chamber. Most species would have withered under Preon's obvious disdain. Nyla leaned closer to me, her bioluminescence dimming to a whisper. The humans' file mentioned their remarkable ability to maintain composure under pressure, but seeing it in person is rather unsettling. "Indeed," I replied, watching as Ambassador Blackwood began arranging her presentation materials. "They call it a poker face. We accept your criticisms, and we will prove that humanity's true strength lies not in our technology, but in our vision and our ability to unite a galaxy of diverse species under a common cause." The silence in the chamber was deafening. It was a silence born from a collective realization that humanity, a species so young by galactic standards, had just turned the tables in the most profound way. There was no longer mockery in the eyes of the representatives, no condescension in their whispers. For the first time, they were seeing humanity not as a primitive threat, but as a potential ally, a force for unity in a galaxy that was often divided by centuries of tradition and distrust. Ambassador Blackwood's gaze swept across the chamber, her small smile now genuine, her presence undeniably commanding. The council members, once so certain in their superiority, were left to grapple with the implications of what they had just witnessed. The tension that had permeated the chamber had shifted, replaced by something altogether more powerful: respect. And for the first time in my long diplomatic career, I saw it clearly. Humanity had not just earned its place at the table. They had redefined the rules of engagement. In the span of one historic session, they had turned the Galactic Council upside down, and I knew that nothing would ever be the same again. Ambassador Blackwood's voice broke the silence once more, But this time it carried a tone of finality, a sense of inevitability. We are here not to prove our worth to you, but to prove it to ourselves. Humanity is ready, not because we are perfect, but because we are capable of learning, adapting, and forging a future together. With that, she turned and signaled her assistants. The chamber, still reeling from the shockwave of her words, now held its breath as the human delegation prepared to leave. The record of this meeting, I knew, would be studied for millennia. In one rotation of the galaxy, humanity had done the impossible. They had made the ancient, proud species of the Council rethink their place in the cosmos. This narrative unfolds the breathtaking revelation of humanity's technological prowess, revealing how appearances can often mislead those who hold power. The twist here is that humans, who were previously underestimated by the Galactic Council, had concealed their advanced capabilities, not out of fear, but as a strategy to maintain an advantage and avoid arrogance. Ambassador Blackwood's reveal of humanity's incredible technologies, from quantum communications to matter creation, upends the entire Council's understanding of the species. Instead of taking an aggressive stance, humanity chose a path of restraint, only showing their true potential when absolutely necessary. This decision forces the Council members to confront their own prejudices and assumptions, leading to a historic shift in their diplomatic strategies. The most profound lesson conveyed is that true strength isn't about overpowering others, but about having the wisdom to use power responsibly. As humanity joins the Galactic Council, they do so not with arrogance, but with the hope for real partnership, where mutual respect replaces dominance. The message is clear. Appearances are deceiving, and wisdom often comes from the most unexpected sources. This compelling narrative not only challenges the Council's view of humanity, but also reshapes their understanding of strength, humility, and progress. It's a story that emphasizes the importance of humility and restraint, showing that wisdom often comes with understanding the true value of power and knowing when not to wield it.